Well, good morning, Bakersfield. Surrounding communities, everybody watching online on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. This is the 28th day of January. I'm Chris Burdick. That's Sparky. Sparky, good morning, my friend.
Good morning.
Let them know what they're in for, man.
We'll talk about some NFL news and headlines, some coaches, introductions, some Hall of Fame coach that's not a Hall of Fame coach yet. We'll get into that. We'll get into some local comedy with our boy JBurd coming in at 8 o'clock, and then some Condors talk with Ryan Holt. And you can call or text in anytime throughout the show to 661-842-2000.
And we may wrap up with some wrestling news because for those of you who are watching NXT a week ago, not yesterday's, but a week ago, I caught this, but I didn't think he was going to get into a lot of grief for this. But Booker T has found himself in hot water again. Everybody's favorite commentator said something that kind of upset not only the back room, but the wrestler in which he was talking about. He had to come out and speak on his comments, and I'll let you guys know what he said. And of course, it's casual Booker T fashion.
Yeah,
casual Booker T fashion.
And while we have an early riser texted in saying, "What is the name of the place you guys talk about that shows the WWE PLEs? And are they going to be open for the Royal Rumble?"
Dionysus Brewing is the main one. And yes, they will be open. We'll be talking to our guy Kyle Pitzer on Friday. So highly recommend you go over there, check out Dionysus Brewing. It's off of
Shark Court.
Yes, it's in one of those they call them strip malls. I don't like calling it that though. They're just the buildings that are warehouses. Yeah, exactly.
It's on the other side. If you were going to the DMV off of Ash, you would go left instead of right. It's right across over there by the school district.
Yes, and honestly, fantastic food, fantastic beers. The beer slushies are a home run. I know it's cold, and everybody's going to look at me saying, "Really? You're going to eat a slushie right now? You're going to be drinking slushies?" Yes, when it's a beer, abso-dang-lutely.
I like the Japanese or the blonde, but they've got some dark beers. They've got some flavored beers. They got some sour beers.
But yes, our guy Kyle Pitzer over there at Dionysus Brewing is where you need to be if you want to check out the Royal Rumble this weekend, starting at 11 o'clock on Saturday. One of the biggest PLEs of the year. And honestly, I'm very, very excited. We talked about it yesterday. May do a little bit of side stuff on our YouTube channel. For those of you who are wrestling fans, join us. I can't promise we can pump the feed, obviously, but you'll get our live reactions. And honestly, could be one of the most entertaining Royal Rumbles in the last couple of years. Nobody knows who's going to win. And I think that's the best part about all of this is it's completely wide open.
And in a way of gambling, my buddy out in Miami, he does this every year, but he gets 30 people to choose numbers.
Yes.
And then we randomize.
Do this.
And so I'll get 2 wrestlers this year. I don't know who I'm going to get quite yet.
Mm-hmm.
But we're doing the men's and women's, so
that's what I love. When I've seen videos the last couple of years of like WWE fans doing Royal Rumble parties and doing that. Like, you walk in, you get a cupcake, and whatever number's on the cupcake, that's your wrestler. And
nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love that. But it's from what I understand, it's the same number for both. So like if you get 17, you're 17 in the men's and in the women's. But still, I love the just different things that people do when it comes to this. For those of you who have no idea what the hell we're talking about and are not wrestling fans, the Royal Rumble is a huge, huge event during the WWE, which is essentially their wild card round. If you want to compare it to a football analogy, it's a wild card round. Winner of this gets an automatic bid at a match at WrestleMania, which is essentially their Super Bowl. It's always fun. 30 participants can be at the ring at one time. They all come in timed increments. And when you get knocked over the rope is when you're out. It's not a pin or submission thing. It's just solely like if this big guy can pick you up and throw you over the top rope and you hit the ground, you're out. And the last man standing is the one who ends up with the match at WrestleMania. I love it. It's always fun to watch.
It's my favorite one.
Pat Patterson, I believe, was the creator of it, and he is a long time wrestling legend. And this has been one of the greatest just wrestling traditions, really, of all time. It's so beloved that every other company has attempted to do something like this, and it never sticks. Sometimes you'll see other companies do, like, for instance, AEW has what they call Blood and Guts, which is the exact same thing as a War Games match, just a little more rough.
With 2 rings?
Yes, 2 rings, giant cage. It's the exact same thing. But they can kind of be compared to each other. AEW has never been able to create anything that is as exciting as the Royal Rumble. It just doesn't happen. So for those of you who are not wrestling fans and are just kind of curious to check it out, go to Dionysus Brewing this weekend. Go get yourself a beer and go check it out. I guarantee you will have fun, especially like if you do what I told our friend in here on Monday, just turn your brain off for 30 minutes. Everybody needs that every so often. Turn your brain off, enjoy some entertainment, and I promise you will not be disappointed. You won't. Let's shift over to the NFL, though, my friend, because 2 major things happened yesterday that we haven't gotten to talk about. One happened at the end of the show, and we didn't get to talk about it, but his name did pop up at the end, but just not for this team. Joe Brady, former offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills, has been selected as the new head coach of the Buffalo Bills, as he has agreed to a 5-year contract with the team, keeping him around. Do you think this was the right move? I know they wanted to keep someone around that has good standing with Josh Allen, has a good standing with the team, and maybe this is just one of those instances where they say, you know what? We don't have to worry about a new guy coming in and not being able to hold all of these guys accountable and responsible for the amount or the level of play, rather, that they should be playing at. Joe Brady will be able to walk in and demand and absolutely just take everybody in that room and say, we're still that team and I can get us there. Do you think this was the right move?
I personally don't. I just think it makes them look stupid. It's just, I mean, if you were just going to do that, then why didn't you just do that from the front street? But then you had to stretch out this whole drama for a week talking about, the offensive woes and it's this and that, fighting over, a player that's still on the roster about who wanted him, who didn't. And the whole conversation was Brady wanted him and Brady got him. And then you bad talk the guy.
And now
and
it's
then a week later,
okay that he's
bring him
coach.
back. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. And then minutes afterwards, the ball gets his job. And I'm like, okay, I guess they were playing, hot potato with who was going to do it. But I mean, personally, if I'm running a $1 million, $1 billion team, I would expect at least the direction of why did you wait this long? If you're going to do that, you could have just done it without, making the whole drama and the circus out of it.
So why it took so long, I think I can at least shine a little bit of light on that. But again, it's more of just what I know from the legal standpoints of all this. You have to go through interviews. And with the Rooney Rule, you have to interview people of multiple races. You can't just pick a white guy, or, interview that white guy and say, that's our guy. You have to give everybody a chance, an equal opportunity to, vie for this job. That's probably why it took so long. What I do agree with you with, though, is that this makes him look absolutely stupid. And I've said this since they fired McDermott, but Terry Pagula is out of his freaking mind. He really is. This is a man who's making decisions based on emotion. He's not thinking about this logically at all. And you can see it in the way they're moving. You see it in the way they're going about all of this. Firing McDermott and blaming him for everything, but keeping Bean and giving him a promotion. Wild as hell. To come out in the press conference, just like Sparky just said, blame the one draft pick that everybody is giving grief to, calling him a bust, Keon Coleman, and blaming him, or at least drafting him, on all of the coaches that were here instead of the guy that was the GM, and pretty much trying to absolve Bean of all of that. Also wild. And then, like you just said, if the entire plan was to bring someone in that knew Josh and was going to keep same standing, why are you talking about the coaches in the press conference to begin with? You could have just said, I'm going to stop you. Sean wanted Keon. Just specifically said Sean. But no, what he said was the coaching staff pushed to draft Keon Coleman. And then he doubles back and says, I'm not saying Bean wouldn't have done it, but I'm just saying that wasn't his first pick. Okay, then, Terry, who was? Who was his first pick? That would have been my next question. Okay, if Keon wasn't the choice, then who was the choice, Bean? Who was your choice? At least give him a shot to actually say who it was.
Well, somebody needs some media training because, I mean, when they're trying to corner you with questions like that, you just give them a generic answer. Hey, we thought, doing our recap of who we wanted up on our draft board, Keon was on the board.
We had multiple voices in the room that wanted Keon Coleman. That's all you had to say. Multiple voices, not blaming the coaches. But again, all of this stems from, I'm pretty sure, Terry Pegula has lost his ever-loving mind. Not that Joe Brady isn't a worthy coach, but I just feel like all of this is coming from a place of just absolute ridiculous emotion. And I
personally just hope Keon Coleman, he under contract. I hope they cut him, and I hope he just blows up on a different team.
I do too. But what I'm hoping, or what I'm also going to question as well with this move, I have to ask, what does Terry Pegula truly believe the problem was? Because from everything we've heard, the problem was the offense and how the offense was rolling. But as you just said, Spark, you're going to keep the guy around that was running it? Okay. Now, how are you going to fix the defensive side of the ball? Because that's what McDermott was fixing. That's exactly what McDermott got done for you. And now you're going to have a guy that doesn't focus on that. So what I'm thinking is going to happen, we're going to have a Cincinnati Bengals situation, folks. And it's kind of ironic that the coach they just signed to be the head coach used to be the head coach at Louisiana State when Joe Burrow was there and Jamar Chase. So all we're going to see out of Buffalo the next 3, 4, 5 years, nothing but offense. Nothing but offense. They're going to draft a couple star rookies, maybe if they get lucky. If Bean can magically turn it around and start finding rookies that are actually worth drafting. But at the end of all of this, we're probably going to see Brady get fired because Pegula is going to come out and say, well, this wasn't what I was hoping. We could be better. We can do better. Okay, Terry, if you can do better, why'd you hire inside the same room? That doesn't make sense.
And Buffalo is just like a lot of teams that are at the bottom with salary cap. And not only do they need a bigger offensive line, they need some defensive holes filled, and they don't have wide receivers.
And you just kicked out the one that probably actually wanted to be there. And this entire thing, again, not to make all of this sound like we're taking shots at Joe Brady. Not at all. I think Joe Brady's a great coach. And honestly, when you look at the candidates, probably outside of Dable was one of the better choices they could have picked. But it still just doesn't make sense. All of the grief you just said, all of the stuff you were just talking about the Bills and the coaching staff and all of that. And then you're just going to turn around and keep the same guy.
Offense is our problem. And then let's bring back the offensive leader.
Okay.
That makes sense.
And honestly, I wouldn't even say offense was your problem.
Yeah, neither did I.
Your problem is the general manager and how he's structuring contracts and the draft picks he's taking and all of that. It's the building of the team. The team itself has been playing out of their minds with how little they have. And that's why I'm saying Terry's not thinking about this from a smart standpoint. Mr. Pegula, seriously, sit down and think about this and watch this season from an unbiased standpoint and then come back and realize, oh God, I messed up. No kidding. But we'll see what happens with the Buffalo Bills. I sure hope that they're able to turn around the offensive woes. But again, they had the number 1 rusher in the NFL. They have Josh Allen. I'm not exactly sure where the offensive woes came from. The team that had offensive woes made a move yesterday and fired their offensive coordinator, and I saw that coming from a mile away, and that was the Denver Broncos. I was like, this isn't the same team. So I was absolutely shocked at that. Now, what I wasn't shocked at was the other big news that happened yesterday. The Pro Football Hall of Fame has decided that Coach Bill Belichick is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. He did not get inducted on his first round in the induction ceremony, I suppose, or the induction voting, I should say. He did not reach the 40 overall votes that you need. And the football world, including Bill, is absolutely beside itself right now. I mean, and I kind of get why. But before everybody starts flying off the handle saying this is a snub or this is a ridiculous statement, let's hear from some people that know much more than I. Let's start with Michael Wilbon, who has been in these voting rooms for over 10 years. And he gave a little bit of inside baseball, as it were, on why potentially this happened. So let's hear from Mr. Wilbon first.
I remember when people thought Joe Gibbs was going to come back, and he later did. They didn't want to vote for Joe Gibbs in real time the first year after he retired because people thought he may come back and we don't think he should be eligible for that, even though at the time there was no real provision to prevent it.
Yep.
So, and a second thing about that's inside baseball in that room, there's some of the all-time greats that went in like 15 years later. Lynn Swann, I think, on a 14th ballot. The great Art Monk on a 12th or 13th ballot. And you're like sitting there going, wait a minute, why isn't this person in? And there were people in the room. It's not the Baseball Hall of Fame. First ballot doesn't mean the same thing in every sport or every election. So it used to make me nuts, but that was the nature of that room. So the pro football, and again, it's not the NFL Hall of Fame. It's the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Means a little something else.
So he made a couple really good points there. One, what he said at the end. This is not the NFL Hall of Fame. This is the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They are two separate things, and it is kind of different. Okay. But the other thing that I think everybody's kind of freaking out about that it doesn't really, well, it does make sense, but it doesn't make sense to me in a way, is how up in arms everybody is that this isn't a first ballot thing, that he's not automatically in. So, like Mr. Wilbon said, first ballot Hall of Famer makes more, or it means more in different sports. I don't think it means that much in football. I think that there are some people that deserve it, obviously, and Bill was on a short list of people that may have deserved it. But Bill also got in trouble with a lot of different things during his tenure as a coach. Spygate, Deflategate. And a lot of people are still spurned by that. A lot of people that are in that writing room. Because again, the people who vote for these Hall of Fame inductees are former writers of the sport or football heads like Tony Dungy, who is in that room voting. So there is a lot of politicking that happens during this type of stuff. And although there are guys like Griziano right now who are absolutely besides themselves, calling this an embarrassment, and we won't have to play his, bud, because it's really not that big of a deal. But
that one's the best one.
I mean, you want to play it? Let's play it then. Here's Griziano, who was one of the first ones I saw that was absolutely beside himself that this happened. But he does make a very, very valid point at the end of this that I do want to bounce off you too. So yeah, let's play this. You're right.
It's embarrassing. If I were a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame voting body, I'd be embarrassed about it. And I'd make it very clear that I was not one of the 11 plus who decided not to vote for him. I used to be a Baseball Hall of Fame voter. We took a lot of grief about that process, which is absolutely fairer and more sensible than this one. The Pro Football Hall of Fame voting process is inane and should be completely overhauled. And this has been true for a long time. Maybe this will prompt something of a change because, again, they should be embarrassed. There's no reason not to put Bill Belichick in the Hall of Fame. You're going to tell me Spygate and Deflategate. This is a voting body that has for years insisted that it only focuses on what happened on the field. Are you going to hold Tom Brady out over Spygate and Deflategate too? Like, are you going to be consistent with that? And by the way, there's guys in there that have been suspended for performance-enhancing drugs, for gambling, for all kinds of things. So now when it comes to Belichick, it matters, and it's never mattered before. I think it's a crock.
I love Griziano, and he makes a very valid point at the end there. If we're going to hold out Bill, are we holding out Tom? Because Tom, in a lot of people's minds, is a first ballot Hall of Famer already. But he makes a good point. If we're going to set the standard, you need to set the standard. But the name that's not being talked about right now, who's also up for the Hall of Fame, and I'm very curious because they haven't announced if he has been denied or accepted, was Patriots owner Robert Kraft. Now, I don't need to tell you guys how politics go. But is anybody listening to my voice right now thinking like that Robert Kraft might have had something to do with this? Now, again, Robert obviously benefiting from all the Super Bowls and all the time in which that Bill was there. But let's not forget about what happened at the end of this relationship. How Bill spurned him and how negative and toxic this relationship became, even to the point where everybody thought when they came face to face at the Bill Belichick, or what do they call that? The roast, that we thought there was going to be verbal words or something said. And he is up for the Hall of Fame this year. I am going to be very, very, very interested to see if he makes it. Because if this writing room decided to put Robert Kraft in, but not Bill Belichick, I think then now you have a massive argument for what the hell are these guys thinking?
I don't know like the first clip said, I don't think it's as big of a deal as being a first ballot
In baseball or something like that.
Yeah, and I did read and I heard from other shows that were mentioning that some of their insiders that actually vote for these things, there was 2 or 3 things that came up.
Yes.
One, that he's still actively coaching
Yes.
football.
Yeah.
Since it's not the NFL Hall of Fame, it's Pro Football Hall of Fame. That they also wanted to, they kind of went back and forth on the second one is because there's still belief that he wants to come back to the NFL and pass Shula's winning record and go in that way. And the third one is just like you said, if there was, whether it was Deflategate, which
Spygate, I hear is the big
Spygate was the most important one because there was actually some teeth in that one. And then the drama that went on with him and Kraft. But it seems like the more of what I'm hearing is that they kind of wanted to hold off since the first ballot thing isn't as big as other sports, that they would hate to do a bust and put all this stats in there and then him come back and coach. And I mean, there was a list of coaches that they listed that aren't in there, like the Shanahans. And I'm like, wow, because I mean,
Flores and
how many teams is Flores exactly? But Shanahan, I mean, he's the one that invented the whole West Coast offense that half the league is already running or still running to this day. So I mean, it's not that. I just don't think it's as much of a drama as the media outlets are saying, but I could understand both sides of it as well. If I was a big Patriot fan, I'd be like, Belichick is a GOAT.
Right. And again, I think a lot of people see him as a GOAT on the internet, but it is, I think the biggest part of it is what you said at first. I don't think first ballot Hall of Famer matters that much in football as it does in other sports. Like Michael Wilbon said, Lynn Swann took forever to get in. And is anybody going to say Lynn Swann's not one of the greatest to ever play football? I mean, it's a ridiculous thing to really keep him out that long, but let's be honest, usually they get in every so often, or when time continues to go down. But nobody's saying Bill's never going to get into the Hall of Fame. He's going to get in. They're just saying that this is probably going to be a year kind of a thing. You have to wait a year just to, pay for whatever punishment that they're trying to deal out here. The main question I had, though, was what the hell was Bill's reaction to this? And honestly, I wasn't surprised by the answer. I really wasn't. Let's hear from Mr. Wickersham, the ESPN reporter who reported this story and got the firsthand reaction of Bill Belichick.
This is a complete stunner all the way around. And even though, we've come to expect the unexpected when it comes to Belichick, I don't think anybody was expecting this. But Friday afternoon, he did get a call from the Hall of Fame telling him that he would not be an inductee for this year, that he fell short of the 40 requisite votes required to be inducted. And, I think that it was kind of a courtesy call for him, given his stature and given that he's a finalist. But I think that he was hurt. I think he was disappointed. And, as we detail in the article, he asked people, like, what does a guy have to do? 6 Super Bowls isn't enough, apparently.
And he's not wrong. I mean, and theoretically, he actually has 8 because he won 2 as an assistant, 6 of his own. But it is one of those situations where your cheating is coming back to bite you in the butt, dude. Like, you're really that shocked about this? Like, that's my thing. It's like, look, I get it. I get why everybody's upset. The Super Bowl numbers, the fact he's 14 games away from the most wins in an NFL by an NFL head coach. But are we really all just going to ignore that this guy cheated for 2 of those Super Bowls? At least. And that's the ones he got caught for.
Karma one Movo.
It is. So this is just
get there.
In my opinion, this is just all a good lesson to people that karma will be coming around for you eventually. It may not hit you right away, but that karma's coming around for Bill. And from what I understand, and from what I've heard and read, the NFL don't want him back. They see him as a toxic entity, especially with that new girlfriend of his. They do not want Bill back. So all of the thought of, is Bill coming back to coach in coach in the NFL? I think he has a higher chance than John Gruden does, even though John Gruden apparently is getting calls. Yeah, you got a call, believe it or not. But I don't think he ever coaches again in the NFL. Just solely
and
because
if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you.
That's all.
That's all.
That's all.
That's it. Sorry. He's just not going to. And I mean, again, I could be wrong, and I'll be the first one to tell you I will be on this show screaming to the high heavens, I was wrong. Bill's back. But as it sits right now, from what I understand, from what we've seen in these writing rooms in the Professional Hall of Fame, Professional Football Hall of Fame, again, not the NFL Hall of Fame. This isn't Canton. This is the Professional Football Hall of Fame. But regardless, he is not a first-round Hall of Famer. And whatever reasoning you want to give for that, I personally believe the main reason, Spygate, Deflategate. If he doesn't get caught for cheating, he's easily a first-round Hall of Famer because he has more Super Bowls than the top 3 coaches that were first ballot Hall of Famers combined. So obviously that would put him in that category. But because you're a cheater, you have to pay for it at some point, Bill. Sorry. Don't know exactly how to explain that to you any further. Let's take a break real quick. On the other side, we'll get into some of the other coaching news. 3 of our favorite coaches had pressers yesterday introducing them to their new team. So we'll let you know who that was. And we have some audio to play for each and every one of them. I can't wait to get Sparky's reaction to Mr. McDaniel, not only on the podium during his presser, but on the McAfee show afterwards when he was explaining why he chose the Chargers and all of this. It was actually a pretty interesting interview. I'm not going to lie. Let's take a break. And also, if you guys want to chime in on any of these topics, feel free. 661-842-2000 is the number to call and or text. We will get to your text messages at the end of the show, and we'll run them all down and get out of here. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back. Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. And thank you to the texter for tightening me up. The Pro Football Hall of Fame is in Canton as well as the NFL Hall of Fame. They're both in Canton, Ohio.
Is the NFL one inside the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
Probably. That's
I think
what
it's
I'm
like a
assuming.
subcategory or whatever.
I, for some reason, thought they were two separate ones. I don't know where I got that idea, so I apologize. But yes,
well, that's how they've announced it.
I know.
They've announced it's like, he didn't get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, not the NFL one. I'm
right.
Like,
Again, I should have done a little bit better research on that. I just assumed that meant this wasn't the one in Canton, Ohio, that this was a separate one from a different city. I apologize, but you're absolutely correct. The Pro Football Hall of Fame is as well in Canton, Ohio. So regardless, though, Bill Belichick ain't heading there. So at least not for a year. Doesn't really matter. Let's head over to the other coaches, though, that are still coaching in the NFL, as some of them had their, team introduction pressers yesterday. Which one do you want to start with, my friend? Mr. McCarthy, Mr. McDaniel, or Mr. Stefanski? All of which have pretty interesting audio bites that we're going to play real quick.
Well, let's go with our boy Austin and McCarthy.
Yeah, let's get the Pittsburgh Steelers out of the way. So, first and foremost, it was an emotional presser for Mr. McCarthy as he really just showed how thankful he is to be back in the city of Pittsburgh. So let's start with that real quick.
I understand and embrace the responsibility, the privilege, and the weight that comes with this stewardship. This city, this franchise, this fan base means the world to me because Pittsburgh's my world, and it's just awesome to be back here.
I love McCarthy. I do. And again, I think a lot of people took my comments the other day as slights against McCarthy. I think McCarthy's a great coach, but I just don't think this moves the needle for the Pittsburgh Steelers at all.
100%.
I don't think this helps you guys at all. I think this really is, if you get back to 8-9, I honestly would say, okay, you could have had Tomlin. Like, what's the difference? So that's where I was at with this entire thing. I'm glad, though, that he is taking this with such respect and wanting to be there and wanting to be the next head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That is a fantastic thing to see for Pittsburgh. And honestly, I think he will win over the fan base just solely because he's from there. He is a Pittsburgh guy. He knows what Pittsburgh people think, like how they work. And honestly, if there's anybody that's going to be able to connect with them as well as the players, it's probably McCarthy. So this is a good thing. Now, the question that everybody is asking right now, because the other man connected to this situation hasn't made his decision yet, but Aaron Rodgers and his future is still looming. What will Aaron do? Will he come back to the NFL? We talked about it yesterday, the possibility of him coming back and playing for the Steelers or potentially even moving to a team like the Vikings if he so chose. Mr. McCarthy was asked pretty much the same question. Is there a plan to get Aaron back in Pittsburgh? Would he have Aaron back in Pittsburgh? And this is what Coach had to say.
Do you want Aaron Rodgers back as your quarterback next year?
That's nice the way he asked that, right? That was slick. But I mean, definitely. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't. But I think just like anything, knowing Aaron long enough, going through seasons, I think when players, to see Mel Blunt here, I mean, when guys are up at that stage of their career, they need to step away and decompress it. I think that's very important. The game is so emotional. What these men commit to and what they put into it. I think that time away is important. And I have spoken to Aaron, and so that's really where we are there. But I was able to sit back and watch the games. I watched most of the Pittsburgh games on TV, and I thought he was a great asset for the team.
Someone needs to take that bite and send it to Terry Pagula, please. So he can learn, don't make decisions based on emotion. Walk away and decompress for a second, like Coach is saying, because that's probably one of the most cogent things he could have done. But I digress.
Let the professionals talk.
Exactly. And that also is a great way to handle a media question. Would you want Aaron Rodgers back? Of course I would. I mean, we would always be open to it. He was a great addition to the team last year. Was that an answer of yes? Hell no. That was just an admittance that would he take him back? Of course. Just like any other coach would. But does he want him there? That's not a guarantee. Is he going to come back and play there? That's also not a guarantee. He says he's talked to Aaron. How long ago was that? Didn't say how long ago that was.
No. He's done this before.
Yes, he could technically be talking about the time in which they crossed paths after that Cowboys-Packers game we talked about yesterday, shook hands and said, hey, all bygones be bygones, bygones be bygones. See you, bud. We all know how those conversations go. But as we've said on the show a million times, why would you want him back? Go get a younger quarterback. Or, I don't know, punt on the season and go get one of these that's coming into the draft next year, an Arch Manning or, I don't know, Jaden Mayava or whoever decides to go in. Because next year's draft class is going to be absolutely stacked. But I think Pittsburgh fans are really hoping that McCarthy can come in and either make Mason Rudolph that guy or Will Howard. I think Will Howard is more likely.
Yeah, I think there's a better upside with Will Howard. And since he hasn't been on the field much,
yeah,
I think McCarthy, if he sees the same thing that Pittsburgh saw when they drafted him, that might be a nice little project.
And I like the idea of them working out Will Howard and making him that guy, because I think he got a lot of comparisons to Big Ben when they first drafted him, at least physically. And you're right. They haven't seen a lot of him on the field, which means no team really has a lot of tape on him. So it would kind of benefit the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it would be a great story. It really would. It'd be a great story for the NFL to really ride with, is that the Pittsburgh Steelers' new savior is McCarthy and this young quarterback that they never really thought was going to be the guy yet. So it would be a fantastic story. We'll see what happens when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have an uphill battle going against the Ravens, and honestly, as much as I hate to say it, the Browns and the Bengals every year, 2 times a year. Let's shift over, though. Let's go over to Los Angeles, where Sparky's former head coach, Mr. McDaniel, had his presser as well. I want to start with what he said on McAfee. Okay, he had a little post-presser interview with Pat McAfee where he had some interesting sound bites talking about wearing clothes just for the sake of wearing clothes. This guy is so weird.
Yeah,
he is so odd. But I mean, again, a lot of geniuses are. So maybe that's just who this guy is. But this is what he had to say about the transition to the Los Angeles Chargers and why he chose the Chargers instead of teams like the Detroit Lions.
What's important to me is that, that I can, what I have to offer, that I can, max that out. And, I'm a coach by trade, and I'm a coach, and found some guys that really I thought that I could reach from a coaching perspective in an environment that I thought was great to be a part of, great for my career moving forward. You're talking about a head coach with a high degree on a lot of games in a lot of different scenarios. And there's, some of the best things that, I was afforded in my career was the opportunity to work with coaches like Dan Quinn that was outside of the Coach Shanahan system, where you get epiphanies that you don't even know you're looking for. So I think it's exciting for what we're going to be able to do on the field and off of it. But it was pretty steadfast once I got here that this is the right place for me moving forward.
He also said in this interview that this was the first time in his entire coaching career where he had options. And he meant options, because McAfee asked, was the plan to just go straight to an offensive coordinator, or were you wanting to be a head coach again? And he said, this is the first time I've ever actually had options in that area. So that's why it took him so long to make these decisions. And it seems to me that I was wrong and you were right, Sparky, that he probably chose the Chargers over the Detroit Lions, at least from that answer. Maybe he saw something that he could connect with more with the guys in LA than he can with the guys in Detroit. But personally, I still agree with you. I think the weapons in Detroit would have been more enticing.
Yeah,
right?
I think Detroit would have been a better option just because the missing pieces win an offensive mind. You got Campbell, you got a defensive-minded guy. He's got the troops together, with walking in as an offensive guru, walking in and having, a veteran quarterback with all sorts of weapons. I mean, we saw what he did in Miami with a few talented guys on the offense. And I think personally, it's a good fit. I mean, the guy has grown into the league, starting as a ball boy, being with Hall of Fame coaches. He's been around greatness the whole time he's been in the NFL, and being buddy with guys like McVay and Dan Quinn and McVay. and all of them, they all come from that tree. But the one thing I will say to Charger fans, one, you're getting, I'll look at the positive side. One, you're getting a badass offensive gym. And I think if the team can stay healthy, which Charger fans, just like Dolphin fans, that is a tough task to do, especially with the quarterbacks and the receivers and the running backs last season. I think if you guys can stay healthy, you're going to take a step forward. But number two, the bad side is if they don't stay healthy, if the players do not buy into the way he runs his offense. I mean, we just listened to 30 seconds of nothing.
True.
I got barely nothing out of that conversation except the end.
And I'm glad you brought that up, okay? Because, yes, I am admitting that I may have been wrong in terms of the choice or of him having a choice between Detroit and LA. Not sure exactly how this entire conversation went down, or if Detroit did go the route that I was saying, said, this guy just isn't the leader we're looking for, and Drew Petzing could be. And I have a soundbite here from his presser that explains why I believe this, okay? This was Coach McDaniel at his press conference yesterday when asked one of the simplest questions a coach should be able to answer. Go ahead.
How close do you feel like this team is to potentially reaching its ultimate goal?
Well, I mean, that sounds like more of a head coach question. So, there he is.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you right now, I love the guy when he came in because I saw what he was bringing to a team that did have no offensive mojo.
Right.
And I was excited to see certain things. But I will tell you, not only the press conference, his play calling. Hopefully it's Harbaugh making the play calling and they're intermixing, because you'll get real sick and tired of, okay, well, on first down, it didn't work. Okay, now we're just giving up on the drive. We're going to do a draw and a screen and the drive's over. And number three, you're going to get real sick and tired. If things aren't working, you're going to get real sick and tired of his stupid answers.
And that's what I'm saying.
Hopefully it works out for him because I like the guy.
This highlight is going to be used in every head coaching interview that he has from here on out. You can't answer the simplest question of how far away is this offense till you guys get to your ultimate goal. Oh, that's a head coach question. Oh, there he is. Ask him.
Yep.
Mike, answer the damn question. How close is the offense? All I have to say, you know what? I think it's pretty close. I think that we just need a couple more things, little tweaks here.
I'm excited to work with a guy like Justin Herbert. Blah 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 blah.
And that's why I'm coming in. I think I'm the guy that's able to figure that out, and I'm going to help us get to the next goal. How hard of an answer is that?
And even before he said that, he was, you guys aren't going to ask me about vaping, right? I'm like, what are you doing, dude?
This guy is so.
And I do wish him luck because he is not the head coach now. He can kind of sit back and do what he's good at. And I mean, I'm not going to bash any Charger fans because personally, I hope the Chargers get better. I hope the AFC West between the Broncos and the Chiefs and even the Raiders. I mean, this could be a hell of a division if they can stay healthy. But I'm glad that he's an offensive coordinator.
Yes. I'm just, look, man, I know he's a good dude. I'm not sitting here saying he's a bad guy or a bad coach. He's an offensive genius. He really is. But as I've said a million times over, his leadership qualities, his ability to answer questions, just his overall demeanor, it's not head coach. It's not a head coach. So I think you're right. I hope that he comes in and fixes all the problems when it comes to the Chargers. But to be honest with you, just hearing that answer yesterday, I was like, dude, this is all the proof I need right here that this guy will most likely will never be a head coach again in the NFL.
Probably not.
How do you not answer that question? And I know we only got a couple minutes. Do we have enough time to actually take a break, or should we just wait?
We'll just get into it.
Okay, let's get to Kevin Stefanski then. I'm a Falcons fan, so I can air out my grievances since nobody gets to talk about the Falcons on sports media ever. But here we are. Kevin Stefanski had his presser yesterday as well. Okay. Let's start with the first one. This is the one that everybody saw. I posted this on my social media as well. I'm still skeptical on this answer, but this is what Kevin Stefanski had to say in terms of why he chose Atlanta.
This is a special place. Atlanta is where I wanted to be. I wanted to be here. There was a pull to this job and a pull to this city, and it really started right at the top. It's Arthur Blank and Matt Ryan. Arthur and I share very similar values of how to treat people. He will create an environment and an opportunity to win. And then Matt Ryan. I've known Matt a long time. I've known of Matt a very long time. I know what he's made of. I know what he's about. I know where he's from, literally. But I also know what is important to him. And what's important to Matt is winning. And I know sitting with Matt and sitting with the general manager, we'll be aligned in that vision of putting together a football team where winning is at the forefront of everything we do.
As a Falcons fan to the ear, that sounds fantastic. Of course we want to win. Everybody wants to win. And the one thing that I had to highlight from this bite is what he said at the beginning. This is where I want to be. I felt a pull to this city. This, it starts at the top with Arthur Blank and Matt Ryan. Okay, all that sounds great, Kevin. But here's the problem with that. Of course, this is the team you wanted to come to. This is the offensive-minded team. This is the literal best option for you. There was no other job out there that was going to take you seriously. You really think the Baltimore Ravens were really going to sign the head coach of the Browns? No. They interviewed you, much like I said earlier, Rooney Rule. You have to give a bunch of different people the opportunity to interview for this job. And obviously, they're going to interview the best of the best. They're not just going to call Joe Blow from the Las Vegas Raiders and say, come interview for this job. They want to make it look like they're taking it seriously. So, of course, this was the place that pulled you in. We all understand that. Now, I'm all for the winning. I'm all for the winning mentality, and I'm all for Falcons actually turning into a winning franchise. However, this next bite doesn't give me a lot of hope for that. We all remember what Baker Mayfield said after Kevin Stefanski got hired as the new head coach. He's very excited to play his former coach 2 times a year, and rightfully so. Kevin Stefanski absolutely screwed this guy over, threw him to the weeds after his time with the Cleveland Browns, and to be honest with you, we still haven't gotten an answer for it. We still haven't figured out why Kevin did it. And it makes me worried. It really does about Michael Penix, because he straight up said, I'm excited to work with Michael. I'm sure you are, Kevin, because the abundance of quarterbacks you had in Cleveland leaves any of us excited about what you can do. Again, I digress. But we all know about the comments made, and I was on this show very much excited about the comments because as I've said many times, the NFL needs rivalries back. We need the hatred between teams back. The Bears and Packers rivalry, Atlanta and Tampa Bay, New York and Dallas. We need that. But this is what Kevin had to say about Baker's comments.
Mayfield's comments about you coming to Atlanta and looking forward to seeing you twice a year.
Yeah, Baker's somebody that I have a ton of respect for as a player and a person. I love rivalries in sports, and obviously Buccaneers Falcons have a great rivalry. It's something that I'm excited about, but I would not get into the specifics of those type of things other than to say I have a ton of respect for Baker as a player, as a person. That's a great team with a great player.
Now, we all know that's a media graded answer, but that's a lie. You do not have respect for Baker. Come on, man. I would have respected you more if you said, I can't wait to play Baker 2 times a year. I know exactly how to play Baker. I am the one who coached Baker. I'm the one who made Baker look good in Cleveland. So I know how to beat Baker 2 times a year. I can't wait to play Baker 2 times a year. What does it
stir it up, season it?
Why can no coach be a Ben Johnson besides Ben Johnson? Like, why can't somebody just straight up say, I don't like that guy? I don't like that guy. Be honest. We would actually respect you more if you were honest. And honestly, you claim you love rivalries in football, and yet you're not going to add to the rivalry. Again, maybe this is just me calling out saying we need this type of thing, but Kevin, wrong answer. Call him out. Say, I didn't like that. I didn't like that he was coming for me. I understand we have a history. I understand that it didn't end well, but I didn't like that. But we will handle this on the field. I will, I'm very excited to play you 2 times a year as well, Baker, and I respect you as a quarterback. But I was not okay with those comments. Again, much like I said about Mr. McDaniel, how hard is that to say? Why? Why can we not get some realism, man? Just let's bring it out. Let's see the pure rivalry and the rage build up. Come on, man. We need a little bit of this. But to sit there and just lie to everybody's face and say, "Oh, I respect Baker," I've always respected Baker. Yeah, we all know that's a lie, Kevin. Based on how you treated that man.
If you're going to go coach in a big city like the ATL, I mean, they would eat you up right there. If you would have said something like that and stir the pot. And I mean, you'd be a big Falcon guy right there.
You would have been a beloved figure in Atlanta if you would have not taken a shot. Don't sit there and like dog him, but at least step up and say, I didn't like that. We aren't fans of Tampa Bay around here.
Let the Dirty Birds answer that one for me.
Exactly.
Something.
But no, you took I respect Baker Mayfield. Okay, Prez, get out of here. Bye. Bye. You're not winning anybody over with that. You're already got an uphill battle ahead of you, Kevin. So I would just start being real with the fans, start being real with the media, and be a damn head coach.
Is it going to be Cousins time or is it going to be Penix time? Because that's what I'm nervous about.
He said that he's excited to work with Michael and that he got to see a lot of him in the draft combine. But here's the problem with that. As I said when he was with Cleveland, how many quarterbacks did this guy have and run through? And he's a quarterback coach. Let's take a break. We got our guy JBurd on the other side. He's got a couple shows coming up. Can't wait to talk to him. Plus, we got Ryan Holt from the Bakersfield Condors right after that. This is the Early Bird Special. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. We are also streaming video live for you on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You could join us on all those social media platforms, plus Instagram and TikTok as well. Just look up the Early Bird Special.
Breaking news.
Yes. The Browns have found their new head coach and the Ravens offensive coordinator, or former Ravens offensive coordinator, Monken.
Monken.
Apologize. It moved on me, so I lost the name. Todd Monken is now the new head coach of the Cleveland Browns. We'll get into that at some point before the end of the show.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah,
No one cares. It's the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
it's true.
And that's
I
coming
don't
from
know.
a Dolphins
Look,
and
man,
Falcons fan.
The Browns are the Browns. The Browns are going to Brown no matter what. All we can hope for is, Shedeur
Pro Bowl
Sanders.
quarterback.
Yeah.
Pro Bowl quarterback, Shedeur
Every year.
Sanders.
And you know what I realized too? That I didn't realize till yesterday?
He's the first one.
Trevor's not in it.
Oh,
Trevor Lawrence didn't get a nod, and he was third in the MVP.
that's horrible.
This is a wild, wild year. But okay, we got to talk to one of the funniest comedians here locally. Our friend John Burden is back. Sir, good to
JBurd.
see you.
Hi, how's it going?
Oh, can't complain, man. It's good to see you again. Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
Show at Roosters tonight, obviously.
Yes.
Very excited. Who's
Yeah.
going to be on the card with you?
So tonight we have Tyson Hayes. We
Our
also
buddy,
have Bobby Ortiz Jr. We have a out-of-town comic, Eric Lopez. He actually has a cool TikTok, and he just talks about his FedEx, working at FedEx, and it's always fun. And then, of course, headlining is Andrew Boyston.
I've seen more guys who are just blue-collar workers. I can't remember his name right now, but there's a guy on TikTok who's a trash guy that all he does is eat a head of lettuce and talk. And
Well, you know why, right?
it's hilarious. But why is that?
Because everyone has to have a side hustle.
This
Right?
is true.
Still
No,
have
this is
bills to
absolutely
pay.
true.
Yeah.
Social media has
Yeah.
created a side hustle for many, many people. But you guys have been doing this show on Wednesdays at Roosters for a while now, haven't you?
Yeah.
Because last time we talked to you guys, you were doing a show out there as well.
Yeah, it's been our third month. They give us a show, every month. And it's always like if I do well, so I'm always like, let's hope. And you've done well when you've made the bingo crowd start to laugh at dick jokes.
There you
Exactly.
go.
When
That's how
grandma
you do
walks
it.
in with her bingo card and says, "Oh, this is actually funny," it's like, okay, cool, sweet.
Yeah, she remembers.
How long have you guys been doing it at Roosters? And is it always on the same day every month?
No, it's always going to be like a Wednesday in a month, and it's been our third show, so
Okay.
we've been doing it for 3 months now.
So for people who want to follow you guys and want to get or go to these shows at Roosters more often, how can they?
Follow me at jbird or j.bird88.com or .com on Instagram. Jeez. Yeah, jbird88 Instagram. That's where my flyers will post up, and I'll have my friends post up and all that kind of stuff.
And you're saying, or you were telling me before the start of the segment that you guys are planning to extend this to a bi-monthly at least, or something like that, right?
Yeah, I want to try to find another venue that will help us, help me like promote shows, because I want to be the middle guy, right? We have our awesome Monday night open mics that give everyone 5 to 4 minutes. We eventually will have our Thursday night back once the well makes up all of its like initial costs with all the big shows happening. But I want to be the guy that gives the people who just need a little bit more breathing space, more opportunities. And then of course we still have our quick draw event where people get like still a minute or two. But yeah, that's kind of like I'm glad to be number two.
Well, see, that's interesting. And I don't mean like, because everybody I've talked to that has these type of aspirations wants to be number one, but no one ever really thinks I need to help the people get there. You know what I mean? Like, that's very admirable of you. Like, you don't mind taking a step back so other people can step up. You know what I mean?
I mean, let's be honest. There's also the fact that I get to also do a little bit more
True.
time. So
Very true.
Yeah, the more opportunity.
Tit for tat.
Have you been trying to get into the managing part of all of this? Maybe
I would love to. Yes.
Have you?
I mean, like even my own show, like the Rolling with Comics podcast.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Basically just one day I read a book that was called like Show Your Work, and I was just like, I'm just tired of like sitting back and waiting for someone to pick me. I just decided to do myself, and then I know how I felt where like no one was picking me, so now I just go, I'm gonna just try to bring a group up, you know what I mean? Like, and if I get out there and get my name and or anyone else, cool.
And that's what I'm saying, that's admirable, because I think we need more people like that. I don't think this may sound bad, but it's like when you tell your kid, shoot for the stars, you land anywhere, or shoot for the moon, you land among the stars kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't, but we need people that are actually going to be there to help you get to that level.
Exactly.
Otherwise, there's no platform for you to jump off of.
Exactly. I'm glad I'm just in space. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well,
but
me
you
feeling
yourself,
less gravity would be great.
and you yourself are a fantastic comic, man. I
thanks.
mean, you're
Yeah.
hilarious. So like do you kind of step in and help some of these newer comedians figure out their style?
I am very much when they want to ask for it, right? Because
Mhm.
I don't, you know, I've been a receiver of like unwanted information.
True.
Just like, oh, cool, more fat jokes. I got plenty. Like,
Well, that's when one of my questions was, you know, when you first started going into those like unwanted advice, is there like the cool group where, you know, they think they've already made it and they see these upcoming guys and they're like, you know, this guy's not funny, but he's out here, he's trying. And then there's the guys that, you know, that are going at it, like you mentioned Tyson and a lot of you guys. I mean, you, Boydston. I mean, even though Boydston's headlining some shows out at the coast one week, you know, not only does he have his full-time job as well, but he's hitting these open mics. And we talked to Howdy, and he said, you know, his biggest mistake was going to these open mics and not just jumping on. He said he wasted a year or two just nervous. And he said, I should have just jumped in there. I wasted 2 years. And I mean, I don't remember how long you've been in comedy, but 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years.
And I mean, can you explain how you first started and then now going into where you're doing, you know, weekly, bi-weekly, and just your mindset going in as a comedian?
I mean, like in the beginning, I wanted to just write. And then I quickly was like, okay, I'm going to make my first hour doing this. And I'm going to make jokes doing this way and this way and this way. And I kind of like a project manager. And it was like not good because then I would constantly keep trying the same jokes over and over and over again. And now there's a goodness to that because now I have like a repertoire, but now it's like, okay, more short and like of the times mixed in with like my own experience jokes. So it used to be like, you know, just do and practice what you want versus like the freedom of the art at the moment, right? So for example, like, you know, these last couple of months or even to a year, like I will at least try 1 or 2 jokes that are of like the week that happened or something, you know, versus like the same 5 jokes I've done for 2 years.
Of course.
Yeah.
So you're just trying to mix in some ad libs or some stuff that's more, you know, topical.
Yeah. And also like nowadays it's more like learning the room, learning like how to bring them back, take them. Like now it's more like control panel work, you know, like you want to, I'm just trying to get better at like crowd work,
know your audience,
and
kind of
knowing the
stuff.
audience and like what you can do, what you can't do. Like, yeah.
So how do you go about attacking that with different audiences every night?
There's always like a golden rule for me. It's like, if you can get them like right off the bat, you're good. And then, you know, if you don't, then like, you know, a joke that will work. And then if that doesn't work, then just have fun because you're bombing.
At that point, it's over.
Yeah, at that point, you're just like, no one will remember this. Like half of you are 5 drinks in because I'm going last.
Right.
Like,
well, and we were talking to a buddy of yours, John Hacker, on Monday, who was in here with Major Laugh Mondays and all their guys. But they were talking about the D&D group that you guys have, the Rolling with Comics, which you've already mentioned.
Yeah, fun recording set last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I asked them where it all got started. They said it got started with you.
Yes.
He said, talk to JBurd about that.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm a big D&D nerd. Like,
Are you?
Yeah. Yeah. There's plenty of times where I've like been playing D&D for way too long when I had way too much time on my hands. And I just decided it's more fun when you have people who are funny.
Yes.
And then I looked at guys like Critical Role or like Delve to Avernus. There's another
Legends
like
of
Legend, yes,
something of that Adventurous or something.
Legends of Adventurous.
Those are the ones that I follow. I love those guys.
Great guys. And I was like, well, we can do it too. Like, you know what I mean? And probably we're a little bit more edgy. So like we're kind of like the kick streamers of the D&D podcast world.
And I mean, and you guys, again, it's a great way to really figure out your guys' comedy and how you guys go about it as well for people who are curious. But if you're just looking for something to watch and just laugh, I personally enjoy watching them just because D&D is one of those games where your imagination dictates where everything goes.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
depending on how imaginative you are is how funny this could potentially get. You get what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like that's why, I love the people we hang out with because it's basically a writer's room that we also roll dice with.
Do you guys ever find jokes while shooting that you guys use later on in stand-up?
Yes. I remember one time they brought in like a coloring, like we talked about a coloring book that had just like, never forget 9/11, but for children.
Oh,
as a
God.
coloring book. And I was like, well, what's next? Like a connect the dots on a Hiroshima remembers.
Oh my God. Oh Lord. I mean,
It's like, it was a man.
Oh. It's a chalk outline. Oh Lord. That's awesome. So how often do you guys get a chance to actually do these shoots, and how much have you guys been able to pull? Like I'm sorry, not how much, but how many comedians have been able to come in on it is a better way to ask.
So we started with just 5 comedians, Alyssa Suggs, Trevor Chavez, John Hacker, Andrew Boyson, and my friend Jared Newkirk, right? And then we eventually started having guests. Our first guest was Christiane LeBeau, which is a great comedian. She's been on one of my Rooster shows. And then we had Tyson Hayes. And at the time, we finally brought in Christiane as like a full-time member because I like having.
Well, once you jump into a game, it's kind of hard for your character to jump in and out.
Kinda, but man, my audio equipment can only be stretched so far.
This is true. This is very true. You're talking to two people that know that all too well.
Yeah.
So back to my initial question, then, how often do you guys get together?
We get together every other week. Right?
Okay.
Basically, I'm in comedy when I don't have to be a father. Like when I'm with my kid, 100% I'm there.
Right.
When I'm not, I got to make money to buy him more things.
Like,
right.
Thought that's throwing out there though. Have you ever thought throwing your kid into this at one point?
He's 8. Like,
okay. Well, I mean,
around certain people, like I think Tyson can't be around children. So
yeah, no,
there's another year left on that.
No,
but I mean, it could be like a Cosby thing. Kids say the darndest things. You know what I
don't
mean?
want to be compared to Cosby at all.
Right. That was the wrong pick, dude.
You're absolutely
Give him
right.
a couple
I
years.
I apologize. That's absolutely correct. Okay, going back to your show at Roosters, what do people expect?
They can expect great laughs. They can expect great beers because they have the cantina. Like that's kind of like a hybrid. They can actually order food and not leave the bar, so you can do that. I'm gonna wear a cowboy hat because the theme. And 10-minute sets gives our comedians a lot more room to breathe. And then the best part is like I like it afterwards, where the open micers that come afterwards, they have to make the funniest thing they can think of in 1 minute. Kind of like Kill Tony style.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
have you guys tried to maybe do a Kill Tony type panel as well with all of you guys? Because honestly, you have the guys there that could make this really good.
Yes.
If you, Bobby, Tyson, and Trevor, and everybody sat down as a panel, I think that could be a really good YouTube series.
Yeah, I think the crowd we would need a churning of people to come through all the time, right? Because you can do it and then maybe once a month, but if you try to do it like weekly or bi-weekly, you'll just see the same people over and over, and they're gonna get their feelings hurt over and over and over.
I mean, sometimes you need that though.
Yeah, well,
just saying.
It's like
if you ever get that going though, my friend, I think that would be a really interesting way to kind of expand this show, especially since, like you said, a lot of these comedians, and it would be an interesting way to kind of do it differently, in my opinion.
That is true. Yeah, I'm always looking for ways to do something that's not having been done here in Bakersfield.
Now, hopefully you don't get in trouble with Kill Tony or Tony Hinchcliffe for this, but I don't think he owns copyright to that.
I don't think he cares.
Right? Yeah. It seems like he's building it for the comedians anyway. So
that's what I would think. But again, I've been shocked before in the past. Some of these people don't
we just had a buddy that got in trouble for streaming a WWE
show.
event. So who knows? But back to the D&D. So I've got several friends that play, and they always talk about it. So have you ever brought in somebody that just has heard of it, has never played, and you've kind of had to walk him or her through it?
Is Sparky gonna get in on D&D right now?
So Alyssa Suggs
is that what's happening?
Was more of a comic than a player. She never played. And for the first year, it was super fun watching her grow as an actual player. and then she was also like already super funny. So like her, it was like halfway through the first like season or the first campaign, like I actually tilted it more towards like her being a plot device. She then started doing weddings and missed a bunch. So that was always fun. But when she came back, it was like it's been crazy to watch and see people grow. And even like, oh man, Tyson Hayes, like he just comes in with just like, I'm a half elf sorcerer, just like constantly. Like, dude, you don't have to explain, dog. You just do. Like
just do your part.
They will know. I promise.
Because I remember Tyson, it was months ago, but he was saying, "Oh, I'll never play. It's all a bunch of nerds." And then the last time he was on, he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm pumped, dude. I've been playing." And I was just wondering because one, you know, he talks about it a lot. I've heard about it. I've watched shows that have mentioned it.
So much fun.
Can understand what's going on, but I've never dove in. So I was just wondering.
I got like 6 pairs of or little cases of dice if you want one, but I will get you in on this. I promise. I am that much of a nerd.
Put simply, it's just a what if game with your friends, and your dice just depend or show you how good you do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the person gives you a scenario, you go, oh, what if I did this, or what if I did that, and then you roll dice, and then you fuck up or you don't. Oh, sorry,
it's all good.
Keep it rolling.
But at the same time, it's like I keep saying, it's one of those games where your imagination dictates how far you can really go with it, which is why I love that comedians are getting in on this, because in my opinion, some of the most imaginative and just best people to watch on a long period of time are comedians. And when you guys are able to make stuff like this funny, it's like you're watching a television show and nothing's even happening in front of you outside of the 5 of you talking to each other.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. It's a like a radio show. It's
right.
great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just a really cool thing that I think, well, as a nerd who grew up getting bullied for all of this stuff my entire life, now it's pop culture and it's kind of weird. I'm not going to lie to you.
I mean, the most like sexually devious pansexual people now play D&D.
Yes.
So we're not nerds anymore. We're gross.
No. Yeah, we're just gross people. Exactly. Oh, man. Well, my friend, we are running out of time, unfortunately. One more time, how can people get tickets to the show, or is it just free and they can walk in?
It's a free show. Walk in, just be 21 or over because it is a legit bar. It is tonight, Wednesday at 6:30. Doors open at 6. And stick around. It's a nice like little short show. You can be done. We'll be done by 8. You can stay for bingo if you want. Meet a senior citizen. Or
I love
still
bingo.
can't believe they do bingo at Rooster.
I love bingo.
Hey. Old people like fun too.
This is true,
right?
This
Is there
true.
food?
Huh?
Is there food?
Yes, their cantina you can order it without using DoorDash, and they'll just bring it straight from the cantina.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
and they're delicious too. So
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, my friend, thank you so much for your time as always. We really appreciate it. Can't wait to have you back on, and I'll be looking forward to the next episode of Rolling with Comics.
Thanks, man. Go Niners next year. And
yeah.
that's all I had to
How
say.
do you feel about that? Do you feel like this whole PG&E power plant thing is legit?
I think that's a cope.
Yeah. I think that they're just looking for something to blame at this point.
Yeah, no, I get it. The Seahawks had to double tap us. I mean, if we were if I saw a zombie come at me, I'd make sure we're dead too.
I would too.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right on that one. My friend, thank you so much for your time. We got to take a break. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. can't play this song in this show. I'll sit here and let it play all day. This is my favorite ice cream song.
That's why I went with the instrumental. So go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
You can do it.
No. I mean, I could, but no, we're not about to do that today. This is the early bird special, though, right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1
Shout out
FM.
to JBurd.
Yes, thank you for coming in, my friend. And I might be making an appearance on the Rolling with
I gotta
Commentary
see
very
that.
soon. I'm very, very excited. We're doing a lot of different stuff here at the early bird special, man. We might be partnering up with Rodeo Pro
That would
Wrestling
be
here pretty
awesome.
soon, doing some commentary for them and jumping in and out. So look out for us all over YouTube and Instagram, TikTok, all that type of good stuff. We'll keep you guys updated on what's going on. And for those of you who are football fans, there is a possibility that myself and our program director, J.R. Flores, will be down at the Super Bowl next week, at least on Monday and Tuesday for Media Day and for the Super Bowl experience. We're still working that out right now, but hopefully I'll be able to give you guys an inside look on what's going on down there at the Super Bowl before we get to see the Seahawks and the Patriots take each other on in a rematch from a Super Bowl from 11 years ago in Super Bowl 60. But we got to talk Bakersfield Condors first.
No, before we do,
Oh.
we have a listener that got into the spirit after hearing JBurd and's got a 2-minute set. He wants to bust out an open mic right here.
Interesting.
Daily Dave.
All right, Daily Dave, let's go for it. I want to hear it.
Hi, everybody. Hey, I'm Daily Dave, and I'm going to do some pickleball jokes.
Oh,
Are there
okay,
any-
here we go.
Are there
Love
any
it.
pickleball players in the crowd?
At the moment, no, Dave, but you know what? We're here for it.
Okay, well, how do you guys call the score? I have a different and unique way to call the scores. Of course, I'm going to pick on all our people out in the 08. When the score is 0-8, they call it the Oildale score, the 08ers.
That's a good one. Okay.
And then when the score is 7-7, I call out Dr. Pepper. And they're like, what? And, oh, no, it's 7-Up.
Oh, good Lord, Dave. Those are some good
And then
dad jokes.
My next favorite score is the German score. 9-9. Come on, Schultz. Come on, Schultz. It's 9-9.
Oh, good Lord, Dave.
Okay, and my favorite, as an American Mexican, I love my score of 4-5.
4-5.
I always call out cuatro cinco, and then I whisper into my partner's ear, what do you call 4 Mexicans drowning in the Kern River? And they're like, I don't know. Cuatro cinco. I can tell that joke because I'm.
Oh,
I'm
Dave,
my
You are a
joke.
Mexican American.
That is fantastic.
Daily Dave,
sir.
open mic starts at 6. Get down there, talk to
better
JBurd.
Absolutely. You'll get yourself a full-time spot, my friend. I got a dad joke for you before you go, Dave.
All right.
Did you ever hear the one about the little habanero with the jacket on?
No.
Nah, no one has, but he was a little chilly.
That's a cold joke.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day, my friend. Appreciate you listening.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Before we get to our guy, Ryan Holt with the Bakersfield Condors, who will probably be calling in here momentarily, they do have a game in Henderson tonight against the Silver Knights as they sit third right now in the Pacific Division. And then we wrap up the January month, a fantastic January month, mind you, for the Bakersfield Condors, who have only lost 3 times all month of January. And they'll be taking on Abbotsford right here at home. Friday, Saturday, it's 90s night. You got the beer specials, and it's a game where we are taking on the literal bottom of the Pacific Division. So guess what? That should be 2 big wins. Big wins. I almost slipped on that one. Big wins for the Bakersfield Condors. And if you are not in the crowd, I'm very disappointed in you. What are you doing on a Friday, Saturday night? You know dang well there ain't nothing better to do than go down to Dignity Health Arena and join our guy Ryan Holt watching the Bakersfield Condors. There is nothing better to do here in Bakersfield on the weekend. Come on now. Go down there. Before we get him in here, though, there has been some movement in the NFL. Obviously, we let you guys know the Cleveland Browns have chosen Todd Monken, former offensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens, as their new head coach, because the last offensive head coach worked out so well. But then again, they do have one of the best defenses in football and haven't necessarily had to have a defensive-minded head coach to make it happen. But Sparky, what are your thoughts on this? Does this move the needle at all for the Browns? Are we going to see some sort of success for them? And maybe could this mean that we see a different style offense, maybe led by Shedeur Sanders next year, since he is more mobile?
I would expect. I mean, we're coming from a guy that couldn't run the ball with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson and this great offense. But
Yeah.
I'm excited to see just what he can bring. It's not a needle mover for me, but it is definitely interesting because of how close they are against, the division. Usually coaches don't bounce around in divisions. So I'm interested in seeing what obviously he thinks he's going to come in and change what the mark is of the Cleveland Browns and as of anyone, but I'm wondering if it's just more of the opportunity to become a head coach now that his job is pretty much gone in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Or if it's just a better, he knows, obviously being an offensive coordinator in a team that plays the Cleveland Browns twice a year. I'm sure he has a little insight, watched plenty of tape of this Cleveland Browns team, and thinks he can bring in something that'll change this formula that they've been kind of stuck with.
I couldn't agree with you more. Plus, from the outside looking in on this Cleveland team, at least on the offensive side, they had a stellar offensive draft last year between Shadur and Judkins and obviously Fannin and a lot of these other guys that are coming in. The defensive studs, we already talked about the linebacker who's pretty much a shoe-in to win Defensive Player of the Year. It is an enticing move, but it has been one of those jobs, though, where a lot of guys who have been interviewing for it straight up said no. Apparently, Monken was okay with the homework and the testing and the intelligence level, but I think you hit it right on the head, my friend. I think this is more of just the opportunity. As a coordinator, I'm sure he has been itching for that opportunity to become a head coach, and with this, it just shows that he is getting that opportunity. I hope that he can do something with this offense, and maybe we see some success out of Cleveland, just like we did early with Stefanski. But to be honest with you, it's the Browns, and the Browns are going to brown. As I said in our last segment, I don't have a lot of faith that the front office knows how to actually win football games. I mean, you're still hearing them talk about Deshaun Watson as the potential starting quarterback. Like, you clearly have not figured it out yet. So that is what concerns me.
Well, let's take our break, and I'll try to get Holt on the line while we're waiting, and get ready.
Unless he's in the chat room and I didn't see him in there. He is not. So, yeah, we'll get a hold of Ryan Holt, talk a little Bakersfield Condors before we get out of here. Plus, it seems like from Shams Charania, this is just coming down, but Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks are now fielding aggressive offers for the trade, which means he could be on the way out. Even with the injury going on right now, he could pass a physical. So the Bucks might be finding a trade suitor sooner than we expected. Let's take a break. We'll get into that on the other side. Plus some of this talk about how apparently Bo Nix had an ankle condition that led to the injury and was actually inevitable that this injury would happen. So basically the Broncos, y'all were going to lose him in the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl. But what does that mean for his future? This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back. Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. It is time to talk a little Bakersfield Condors, as unfortunately the Condors have dropped the last 2 games. But fret not, they are still strong in the 3rd place position in the Pacific Division right now in the AHL, behind the Colorado Eagles and the Ontario Reign. And we have plenty of time to make that up and to talk about that and everything going on in the Condors room right now is our friend Ryan Holt. Sir, good to hear from you.
Good morning from Henderson, Nevada. How's everyone doing?
Oh, I can't complain, sir. Have you snuck over to Vegas yet?
we are in Greater Vegas,
yeah,
right?
Greater Vegas
we're
area.
Lake Las Vegas, which is views of Vegas, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. But Henderson's really nice, though. I've been able to go and visit there every so often since we've been going out to the Raider games and stuff. And
that place has gotten so big.
It really has.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, where we stay actually on Lake Las Vegas is, I mean, it's probably still 30 minutes to 40 minutes to the arena, which is kind of in the middle of Henderson. And then where we used to stay was the M Resort right there off the highway. And, that place is another 15, 20 minutes the opposite direction. So, crazy how big this area is.
Yeah, when my brother lived out, he was doing solar, and he lived out in Henderson, and it was one casino, and it was like one little area. And going to the Raider game a couple months ago, this place is just triple. I was like, what? This is Henderson?
At one point, Henderson and Vegas might actually combine into one giant city.
I'm sure.
I won't even lie on that one. But what do we got to look forward to in this game against the Silver Knights, my friend?
Yeah, it should be a good one tonight. 2 teams that historically have played pretty entertaining matchups. We've had the better of the hand against them, I think, historically. This place is a little bit of a tough place to play, but we've had good success here. But I think for the Condors, it's about kind of parking last weekend. Obviously a game against Colorado that could have went either way, but the Eagles ended up getting the win, and then I think maybe a little sour taste in the mouth, blowing a lead there in the 3rd period against San Jose, and not at least getting a point out of that game. Haven't seen that yet this year. I think every streak that the Condors had, leading after 2, leading after 1, road streak, every metric that you can kind of roll out kind of came to an end on Saturday. So start fresh tonight, and hopefully kicks off a good week. Henderson is kind of middling around there in kind of the bottom third of the division. Abbotsford this weekend obviously is at the bottom, so time to really put the foot in the gas pedal here before the All-Star break with 5 games left.
I agree. And real quick, just because I'm curious, is it kind of like a baseball kind of mentality when it comes to losing on the road, especially when this young team just went from having a 10-game away road winning record to now losing, like you just said, in a very sour taste kind of mentality? Do you just kind of push that aside and say that game never happened?
Yeah, I mean, to go 40 games into a season and only have, once now with, back-to-back losses, it's a sign of maturity for the team. It's a sign of a good team, right? I think there was a stat in the NHL a couple of years ago with the Stanley Cup, and, the Stanley Cup winner hadn't lost more than 3 in a row at any point during the season, and that held true for, a number of years. And it's the same thing, I think in the AHL level is, teams that, don't go on extended, droughts without collecting points or without wins. Those are the teams that are going to find themselves at the top. And, listen, San Jose was rested the night before. Do I think the Condors played their best game? No, I don't, but I don't think they played their worst game. And, this team continues to fight tooth and nail depending on the opponent.
Well, and after this Henderson game, we get home and we get kind of a break. We get, 4 home games. Is that something that you think the team, after a nice travel, that they're kind of looking forward to being home for this long?
Yeah, it will be nice. It's good to get some home cooking. Obviously Abbotsford has had their struggles this season. They're in on the weekend. 2 big crowds, are awaiting them, and 2 big nights. And I think it's just been a fiery home atmosphere. We had 7,500 last Friday for Colorado, and I think it makes it intimidating. And the Eagles had to play, their best game to beat us. And I think if teams come in and play their best, fine. I think you can live with that. But you look at the weekend, 2 against Abbotsford. Next week is Calgary, and then a tough one, certainly against Ontario next Friday. So 6 big games going into the All-Star break, and you're going to get some time off for the All-Star break. So you want to be playing good hockey going into the All-Star break to kind of have that good taste in your mouth.
And right now, with the Pacific Division so close, at least between the 2, 3, and 4s right now in Colorado, us, and Coachella Valley, how big is this stretch really? And what can we expect going further into the season? Do we expect the Ontario team to just turn it on, or do you kind of feel like the Condors might hit another hot streak here and potentially jump up to that 1 spot?
Yeah, they're going to get their chances, right? We still play Ontario 4 times. We still play Colorado 4 times. So, there's 8 games against, the 2 best. But you're also going to have the opportunity to, make your headway against teams that have struggled, the Hendersons, the Abbott's, the Calgarys. We see Texas in March. They've struggled this year. We see them 4 times. So you're going to get your cracks against them, and you have to make, headway against those groups because, everybody's losing to Colorado and everybody's losing to Ontario. So any point you get off them, you're gaining ground on the rest of the division. It's how you do in games like tonight, in games like this weekend, that ultimately will determine whether you're a top 4 team and get home ice advantage throughout the postseason.
Absolutely. And going into this weekend, obviously we have 90s night, which is one of the more popular nights for the Bakersfield Condors. But what else do we got in terms of the specialty stuff that you guys are going on this weekend?
Yeah, Friday's another $3 beer Friday. I think we have 5 $3 beer Fridays in a row here. So McUltra and Mango Cart, just $3 till the second period. And then, as you mentioned, 90s night as well. So we'll have plenty of Backstreet Boys and NSYNC for you.
Love that.
For Friday night. So that should be fun. And then Saturday night, we have Oilers night, which obviously ties into our owners being Edmonton Oilers, but also ties into kind of the oil field community and agriculture and all that kind of industry goes into making Bakersfield what it is. So we'll wear specialty jerseys. You can check those out on BakersfieldCondors.com. We'll auction those ones off for charity. And then we also have Eric Bergdorf, he just got on a plane with his family from New York City. So he's flying out for the weekend, and we're honoring him and putting him in the Hall of Fame. So
that's awesome.
It should be a fun weekend and good to, walk down memory lane, if you will, with Bergie, who was, so big early in my career. We were both, we're 37 now. We were both 22 at the time when we both started here in Bakersfield. So it'll be great to see him.
So am I expecting, you get home early enough to, bleach your tips of your hair and, get some Jinko
You got to
pants
go
for,
full 90s,
for Friday
right?
night?
You got to go full 90s.
Jinko jeans. What do you need? The
denim on
bell-bottom
denim,
is
baby.
Popular. I used to have the matted down bowl cut hair. I think that was popular. You can have hair anywhere. Frosted tips, though. Frosted tips for sure.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, I mean, you want to be. I mean, we've done these. We've had the 70s, 80s, 90s. We'll have a 2000s night as well too. We're gonna have an emo night coming up as well too.
Love that. See, you're speaking my language here, Ryan. You got the 90s and the emo night coming. That is all my generation. I love hearing this. This is exactly what we need.
We wanted to theme out. Obviously, the $3 beer Friday is a little bit of a funner crowd, if you will. So, to pair that with some music, we've got a country night coming up in February too. So, just trying to make every Friday night a little bit different, but obviously having the same type of promotion.
It'll take a couple $3 beers to me for some frosted tips, but I'm down for it.
Man. We can get the tips frosted.
I think you look good with them.
I think so too. I'm curious though, and I don't know if you have numbers on this, but how much beer do you guys usually sell on these Fridays? Do you know about average?
I don't know the actual numbers, but I know they've done very well this year.
I figure you guys do very well every year because I mean you can't beat $3 tall cans, man. You really can't.
I do know that we did about 750 hot dogs on the last Wiener Wednesday. So
that's a lot of glizzies.
It's a lot of glizzies.
A lot of glizzies. Man, that is fantastic, though. I love to hear that everybody's going out and enjoying the game and packing out this stadium as they should. Because, again, Condors are red hot right now. Have only lost 3 games, technically, in the year of 2026. And personally, I think you hit it right on the head, my friend. This is just the pivotal time for them to really get going and pick up these points so we could put up a good fight against teams like Ontario and Colorado in the playoffs.
Absolutely, and we got reigning Player of the Month Ike Howard back from Edmonton, so he'll be in the lineup tonight. Quinn Hudson's still here, and Josh Szymanski just made his NHL debut with the Oilers on Monday. So
nice.
It's great to see not only guys come back, but also guys go up and realize their dreams, and we'll see what next couple of weeks holds in store, and hopefully go into the All-Star break feeling good about ourselves.
And we'll talk more about the All-Star break next week, obviously. But do we have any early names that are going to be a part of the All-Star game? I figure Quinn would be in there, but is there anybody else?
Yeah, Quinn Hudson will go. I don't know if we'll get an injury replacement for any of the other guys in the Pacific, but you got to figure guys like Howard would be kind of in that list.
Right.
But Hudson will go. So he heads back home. He's from Illinois, so he'll head to Rockford, which is
awesome.
right in the middle of Illinois. So he'll be able to see some friends and family too.
That's fantastic. Well, my friend, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. And we'll talk to you next week about the All-Star game and hopefully 3 big wins for the Condors.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Talk soon.
Talk to you later, man. We do not have another break, though, so we'll be just rolling until we get out of here right now. Let's get into this story, my friend, about Bo Nix and the
injury
ankle condition that he has. I forgot about this, but this was a talking point when he was coming into the league. He has an ankle condition that essentially made this injury that he had against that game with the Buffalo Bills inevitable.
So it's probably not a great idea to kneel the ball.
Nah, well, probably not. Again, he has had multiple surgeries on his ankle since high school. And from what Denver is saying, they have no concerns about his long-term health going forward. But I have to say, dude, if you have an ankle condition like this, where your ankles are, again, and I don't know the name of the condition at the moment, I'm looking into it as we speak, but if your ankles are this, I don't want to say brittle because that's not the right word, but if there's a condition that's going to obviously have this be the case, and it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, as the doctors have said on this occasion, that's a concern for me, at least for long term. What say you?
I mean, of course, we didn't know anything about it until after the injury.
Yes.
But I mean, I was scratching my head because, I didn't recognize the injury until after the game, after the post game. And I was like, what?
Well, nobody even knew it happened until the post game.
What happened? And, and really it wasn't the quarterback play that really, knocked them out of the playoffs personally. But I still am confused about the play calling, but that is just a whole nother conversation. But when it comes down to ankleitis or whatever he's got,
I'm looking it up and it says there's no specific name for the condition as of right now.
But if something as small as kneeling the ball is to aggravate this injury that he's got,
he did it too.
I mean, it was funky, man.
He turned to the side and did it, which was weird. I don't know why you did that. And I'm like, does that mean that you knew when you did the knee that you had it already, or had the issue already, or is this something that happened because he turned?
And if he was aware of it, or the team was aware of it, maybe put Stidham in to kneel the damn ball if that was something
that's
that
a very
nervous.
good point too.
I just don't understand it.
Again, and nobody knows really if the knee is what caused it or if it was the contact that caused it. It's just all we know is that he has a pre-existing condition that he has lived with since high school. And I know that the Broncos are still confident in his abilities and are still confident that he's going to be the starting quarterback. In fact, they're saying that he will be back for team meetings and whatnot in May
with the new offensive coordinator.
Yes, because they did let Mr. Lombardi go.
You think he finds a home somewhere?
No.
Really?
No. With the offensive inconsistency, at least not as a coordinator, maybe as a lower coach, but a coordinator
coach or something.
Nah, I can't see it just because this offense was so inconsistent and so in shambles at times that I don't know.
Wasn't he a coordinator for Buffalo or somebody like that? New England?
Yeah, he came over, and again, I don't know if it's just the fact that Sean Payton's the only one that can accurately run this offense the way it should be, or if it's just that he couldn't figure out Bo Nix's abilities. I don't know. But no, I can't say Lombardi gets a job right away. And, it's a late call too. It's a late firing, which is unfortunate for the Broncos because a lot of the main people you would want as a coordinator are already gone. So unless you can convince a guy like Shula or Shieldhouse to leave LA and come to Denver, I don't know exactly what direction the Broncos are going to be able to go to find somebody that's going to be able to fill this void.
Yeah, and the Jets have hired a new defensive coordinator, Brian Duker.
Yes,
who
I
was
heard about this yesterday.
The secondary coach with the Dolphins the last 2 years.
They also fired their offensive coordinator yesterday. Correct. This one is the one that didn't make sense to me. Why did you wait so long? Denver makes sense because they were in the playoffs. You guys have been waiting around for what reason? Like, if you didn't like the offensive coordinator from the get-go, you should have fired him right after the season. I don't understand why the Jets waited this long to make this move. Because, again, just like I said about the Broncos, most of the offensive-minded head coaches, or at least offensive-minded coaches that you would want to come over to be the OC, are gone. So what's the plan, Aaron?
And is Shula still not going to get a job?
I think Shula has a possibility of getting one of these jobs still. Let's not forget, Schefter said that
Raiders?
we're going to be filling the spots by today.
Raiders, who's it? Cardinals? Who else?
Raiders,
is available?
Cardinals are available. Is that it? Are those the last
I believe
two? So it's entirely possible because the Browns just filled their vacancy today. So that one's
The
no
Ravens?
longer available. Why am I drawing a blank of the Ravens?
The
No,
Ravens?
no, you guys took Halfley. Again, I'll look it up right now.
I believe it's the Ravens, the Raiders, and the Cardinals. If I could be way off.
Let's see. At the moment, I apologize. I should have had this ready to go. Raiders, Cards. No, just Raiders and Cards. Just Raiders and Cardinals. I was like, I'm pretty sure we had something situated in Baltimore, but again, regardless,
it's wild, man.
It's doesn't make sense to me why the Jets waited this long to fire a coordinator at all.
Well, give them a week. They'll fire Glenn.
Oh, I'm sure they will. I hope they do. I've been saying that for months. If we're going to talk about coaches that don't look like head coaches, Aaron, and I'm not talking about Rodgers. This is the second worst Aaron move that the Jets have made in 3 years. It's ridiculous, but here we are. And the Jets are going to continue to jet, just like the Browns are going to continue to brown. But we'll be back tomorrow, 7 to 9 a.m. as always. Join us, won't you? We'll be talking to our guy, Bolt Brady. Hopefully they'll make you some money. Sparky, let's get out of here.